lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast. Prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's number one lycanthrope, Jack Russell, a.k.a. the Werewolf, a.k.a. the Beast, a.k.a. the Shaggy One. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other host, Jacob Balcom.
Thank you for joining us this week, listeners. We're going to be talking about one of our very favorite events in the werewolfdom of Marvel publishing, a giant size issue. This is giant size number 3. Just going to leave that pause in there, but let people absorb the giant size werewolf.
Hey, I'm just going to come right out and say it at the top of the show. So Normally we really, we bag on the giant size issues, rightfully so, because they normally really suck. But I think this one is the strongest one yet, and actually is a pretty decent story and issue of Werewolf by Night. But you'll get that as we go on, because I have lots of good things to say. Okay.
I feel that each successive issue of the Giant Size series has been better than the last. I feel like starting with the Tigra, basically co-opting, I mean, it's Giant Size creatures, fairly enough, but kind of co-opting the Giant Size werewolf story and to make Greer Nelson a cat woman was a really low bar, with Hydra too, running around being Hydra.
Yeah, it was a low bar. But, the one after that wasn't super great either. The Frankenstein's monster. It was goofy. We got that cool, Saturday morning Satanism that we all love so much.
I seem to remember a certain pair of winos that we both fell in love with.
Okay, so it was a pretty good issue, I guess. So maybe just the first one has been the total shit show, and they are definitely getting better.
So this one was published out of order of what we're reading it in, but it fits into narratively how this story goes, because we were in the middle of a 3-part Depraved story recently. This came out kind of in the middle of that, but nothing in it happens prior to Depraved, and things in the next issue we're going to read mention things that happen in this. So this is kind of where this gets slotted in by default, I think, at least for ease, because you couldn't have Jack leaving LA one night on a midnight plane to go to Transylvania and then come back and fight Depraved on that same evening. That just doesn't work.
No, but how we're covering the issues makes perfect chronological sense.
It should.
It does.
I stake my reputation on that.
Yeah, and as giant size issues go, this is actually pretty important to the overall story of the Russell family saga. Like this is an important chapter, as you'll find out.
Yeah, this is the opposite of the typical giant size issue, which is usually a disposable story, maybe a crossover, maybe something outlandish and silly, but never has any impact on the main title. Like you're saying, this actually does flesh out Jack's family history and tells us more about an important character that we love. This is a very definition of non-disposable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we got... So we have, this is Giant Size Werewolf number 3. It's new, according to the cover. It's also 68 big pages, and it features Full Moon Fury as the wolf beast prowls the fear-haunted hills of Transylvania. He loved it so much. I went to Belize, and I love Belize, and I want to go back ASAP, but he wanted to go back to Transylvania.
It's his ancestral home. Come on.
That's right. He probably gets sick miles for that, too.
And he had such a blast last time.
Yeah. We have a pretty solid cover here from Mr. Gil Kane and inked by Mr. Tom Palmer that features the werewolf. And he's kind of got slightly stylized. Maybe this is his Euro look. His pants don't just end at the waistline like hip huggers like they do in the U.S. He's got something kind of big, like he almost had coveralls that got shredded or something. There's green tatters on top of the waistline, which I don't quite get, but I dig it. Maybe like those German things they wear at the beer fest.
Like some kind of suspender.
Lederhosen suspendery things.
Like
yeah. He's holding his ever-present trusty blonde woman, all-purpose blonde damsel in distress, while we are banked in the foreground with a bunch of villagers holding sharpened stakes, pitchforks, torches, etc., all the things you expect, menacing him while he stands on the balustrade. I learned that word, how to properly use that word in this issue, of a castle in the Transylvanian mountains behind him, and he's swiping everyone and holding the woman who seems to be being saved by him, I think.
We hope.
Okay. So we have a very kind of universal Hammer, kind of classical Gothic monster setting here where the villagers are attacking him.
So tell me if I'm wrong here. I think this is the most Green Goblin the Beast has looked yet.
Yeah, okay. I'll accept that.
Yeah, for some reason, I couldn't unsee it when I figured that out.
So I was a fan of this layout and the art. Not one of my favorites, but pretty solid. The color did a great job to entice 12-year-old boys to look kind of at the breastal region of the damsel.
Yep.
There's some, at least I don't know how it is digitally, but there's like some cool kind of gradient lighting, highlighting going on to make the kind of Mad Men torpedo bra thing going on.
Yep. No, I think it's a solid cover.
It's a solid cover.
Yeah, so our opening page, the title is Castle Curse. Our creator credits for this issue are, well, first it says presenting a 30-page full moon fang and fur extravaganza. Compliments of Doug Munch writer, Don Perlin artist, Sal Trapani inker, Gene Simek letterer, and that's Artie's daughter, by the way. My favorite, Linda Lessman colorist, and Roy Thomas editor. And like we said last episode, this is his final issue editing the Werewolf by Night title. So farewell to Roy. But yeah, we haven't seen the inks of Sal Trapani yet. And he is an old school guy. He started his career in 1946 with a story. It was with a story in Green Llama Comics #8. Do you know the Green Llama?
I've read a little bit of Green Llama archives.
Because he's originally a character from the Pulps, I think. And
like Dark Horse or somebody put out a collection in the last like 10, 15 years, and I read some of it.
Yeah, and it seems like he is a Buddhist. He's a Buddhist superhero.
Mm-hmm. Finally.
Finally. And so mostly Sal worked for Charlton in the 50s and 60s as an inker, and he was super prolific. And looking at his GCD credits, I'm realizing I'm like, oh shit, he's inking like 9 or 10 books a month. Yeah, I would say that he was the Coletta of Charlton, but Coletta was there at the same time, totally being Coletta and doing real shitty work. So
how Coletta him.
He was so. So he wasn't great, but he could do them quick, which we've heard before. And his first Marvel work was in 1972 on it's a good portion of the Herb Trimp's run on The Incredible Hulk.
Okay. It's not Trimpy? I've always wondered that. Is it Trimp?
I've heard both.
I've heard both too. We'll need to hunt down what the official one is.
Yeah, not my favorite artist. Not my favorite.
God, no.
By all means, I don't want to shit talk, but he is. I think it was Brad last week said that sometimes those workhorse guys that you see in the credits, and he's a guy that if I see in the credits, I'm like, God.
Yeah, I mean he was affiliated with the first appearance of Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
I mean he had that long run on Hulk, but I mean I don't know anybody that's like, oh, I'm a Herb. Like I say Trimpy. I'm a Herb Trimpy fan. I've never heard those words come out of anyone's mouth.
No, I don't think so. But after Incredible Hulk, Sal Trapani moved on to Daredevil and Fear, which is listed as Adventures into Fear and Fear.
What era is this?
This is
70s?
Yeah, it's 70s. It's what eventually became the first Man-Thing appearance. It's Adventures into Fear. Yeah. I forget what issue. But
I mean, it's Daredevil before he mattered, when he was just a character that was always on a threat of being canceled at any possible moment, right?
Yeah, for good reason most of the time.
Yeah, oh God, yes.
But Trapani, he inked Val Merrick's pencil on the first issue of Man-Thing.
Okay.
So, and he worked with Perlin a lot in the 70s. And I think overall, Trapani he can kind of be seen as a bit of a hack sometimes by people, but I think his inks over Perlin's pencils in this issue are pretty stellar. So
I had zero complaints about the inks in this issue. I thought they were solid.
Yeah, I really love the art for this issue. Like, I actually enjoyed reading it multiple times just so I could focus on the art in the kind of subsequent readings. I never thought I would say that about a giant size issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. So we open with a full page illustration of the werewolf running down like a strange looking street. And the narration reads, "First night, and the werewolf prowled through a jungle of murky city weird." It's again very signature Doug there, which I love. It says the full moon glossed his fur with silver sheen, and he moved like liquid night, loping and slinking through the streets and alleys muffled in Monterey darkness. It says, looking at the fur-bristling, snarl-spitting beast, you'd never guess that Jack Russell was buried under his ferocious facade, but I was, and I'd have booked matchsticks to millions that it was a shred of the human me rather than the beast me, which exhibited sufficient curiosity to even look at the billboard. So yeah, we're going to get to that billboard, which is big on the next page, but I loved the dreamlike quality of this page. Spoiler, but yeah, I love how dreamlike it is. It's so cool.
Yeah, with you, I made a note. I love weird as a noun. That's one of the Munchian things Munchism that I totally dig. I love this German expressionism, like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari background, like this very clearly not our realm, right?
Yeah, no, Caligari is a perfect call.
Like it's very expressionist and strange, misshrouded, and but it definitely feels like Funhouse and just wrong. And I love Perlin's pencils and Trapani's inks here, like the way that Trapani inks the pectoral fur and the ab fur, like there's just little diagonal lines, just tight, perfect, clean. I love it. And I love that weird Sal Buscema wolf face that he has. Like I think Perlin, I guess that's a Perlinism, that kind of long Buscema face.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so he's approaching this billboard, and again, there's just mist like knee to waist high throughout this whole thing. So you can tell that this is something strange, surreal, abnormal going on. And we see that this is a giant toothpaste ad for Rave toothpaste with this blonde model holding a tube of toothpaste. And I could not help but think of this entire time of Arrested Development and Glisten. That running joke about, who the fucking cap off the Glisten? I don't know why anytime that I see a generic toothpaste, I think of Glisten and I chuckle to myself. The werewolf approaches this giant model and he's looking at it and he's kind of strange. He feels like it's moving and his eyes are drawn to it. He approaches it starts to kind of flicker and change, and it turns into Topaz. She says, "Try to listen to me, Jack. I can't sustain this mode of communication much longer." And this page layout is interesting because it's 2 pages. And it's an entire row of left to right panels and arrows pointing you to keep going right, and then it jumps down the middle, and then it jumps down to the bottom, which is a pretty unusual layout for Bronze Era. Like that's kind of, at this point, you know what I mean? Like you read like a Eisner thing or whatever, some old collection, and they were very like, the mechanics were raw, and they were kind of like, here, look here, now look here. But at this point, you don't see this that much.
No, and it's difficult when you're reading it digitally too.
Oh, I bet. Right. I didn't even think of that. So she's kind of enshrouded in mist, and it's very clearly like this kind of, Dorothy and the crystal ball kind of thing. And she's saying, "They're coming for me, Jack. They're horrible. They mean to imprison me like an animal." And even though he can't really understand what's going on, he remembers in some deep core of himself that they have a connection, that they have made this connection mentally before and emotionally, and he cares about her. There's a great drawing of him looking up at her and just kind of growling, like in a kind of bemused, confused kind of way. And all the portraits of her by Perlin are gorgeous. I love the way he draws Topaz. She's just stunningly beautiful every time he draws her in any panel. But she says, "I'm in the castle, your ancestral home. You must hurry. They're closing in. And my power," and she kind of starts flickering in and out, "is fading." And then she's gone, and the billboard's back to just being a toothpaste ad. And the beast is freaked out, but he understands at some core level. So he runs to the shore, and we get some narrative from Jack internally saying, that my ancestral home was sold by my stepfather uncle to this guy Blackguard, who had it shipped over off the coast of California. It was reassembled, and that's the first time we've called back to this is calling back to the Marvel Spotlight. This is a deep callback at this point. So, but the Beast remembers this. So he goes to the shore, and you see him looking at it, and he just dives in. Like, he's so drawn to help Topaz that he just, wolves aren't natural swimmers like otters or something. So he's decided to dive in and swim out to there to save her, which is touching.
It is. No, these are really cool pages. I mean, I like the different layout, even though it was, not exactly natural in a digital format. Yeah, I really liked both these pages. This whole sequence is just so strange and cool. Like on the next page, the Beast arrives at the castle, and Topaz is now kind of appearing in the moon, saying, "Quickly, Jack, they're converging on the castle now." And he gets to the front door, and I love the narration. It says, "But I vaguely remember the werewolf being disappointed with the door. It swung open easily and without a creak, thereby spoiling his favorite game of smash 'em toothpicks." It's another, sometimes Munch does a lot of these things, and sometimes they don't land.
Yeah. I looked it up. It's not a game kids play with, like making a toothpick house or anything. It's just Doug.
Okay. I really want to imagine you Googling smash 'em toothpicks.
I did.
Okay, good.
I'm happy to show you my Google history if you don't believe me.
I totally want to see your Google history. So yeah, he goes in, and as he steps into the castle, these bars like swing down, and now he's basically in a cage, and we know how he feels about cages, so he starts to growl and cry again.
So I love this first panel on here, which is the Beast kind of leaving the ocean, approaching the castle, which is up on a hillside, and like you said, Topaz's kind of blurry face is suggested in the moon. And I couldn't help but think, like, looking back at Blackguard, well, formerly Rusoff Castle, now Blackguard Castle, but I feel like this is a major whiff on Ween's, Wolfman's, and Munch's part here. Like, why would you go to the effort, even before you had your own freaking title, to bring this castle, which I know that the reason that they wanted it was because the Darkhold was in it. Yeah. But we've seen that everything associated with this family is colored by this curse. So why wouldn't you go, oh, that's right, we built an entire castle off of the coast of San Francisco for the purpose of having a creepy magic European Gothic place, and then never go back to it again. And so many of the storylines and beats have been from people like evil magicians wanting to capitalize on whatever the power is. Yeah. And so this seems like this is a lightning rod for egocentric, maniacal necromages. Like, this is like those letters. And I think, Brad was kind of saying this too. Like, the problem with Werewolf by Night is these things just falling in front of the werewolf's feet and just happening and there's another letter criticizing as well, saying what really works is when you have these things germane to him that have no easy resolution, and they go on, and we don't understand why they're happening or how they're evolving in the background. That's when these work. When you just throw out a dude in a hood with a noose, it's not as compelling to the larger story of Jack Russell. Or why would we even care about Jack Russell? Yeah. But when you tie it into his family and the castle and this whole lineage and legacy, then it kind of becomes like, oh, now I care about him even if I don't know who he is really.
Yeah, it's surprising that whole, that the Rusoff saga was kind of just shoved aside for many, many issues, even though it's the most interesting thing about Jack. Yeah.
I think the revelation when Father Hocquez became Elfric, that was like a pretty big revelation, and they just didn't do anything with it. So it's kind of interesting until Dracula, which a little bit they tease it out, but it almost seems like I would be charging with that story, not saying like, what else do I got? What else do I got? I need to think of an idea. Oh, I know. Something about his family, right? His family has some weird thing. Let's check that out. Anyway, great art here of him charging up there, and once he goes into the door, the trap closes behind him. That's great. He has this, he's stalking around inside. He can't open the bars. He finds another stairwell. He goes down. Some curtains randomly disappear again to kind of give this that dreamy, surreal quality. And then he sees Topaz appear before him, bathed in the moonlight, saying, "Thank you for listening to me, Jack. I knew you could overcome the shackles of the beast. Step forward and embrace me." And she says she was the archetypal damsel in distress. Which is not how I describe this character at all, but
no, I would not describe her like that.
In this reality.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to give that away yet. But yeah, she looks really, of course, kind of scary and weird looking. And so, yeah, the beast kind of moves slowly toward a Topaz, and, she's saying, "That's right, Jack, come to me. One more step, Jack, just one more step." And then she turns into vapor, and he realizes, he's standing on a trapdoor in the floor. So that opens, and he falls down this hole and lands in front of this giant spiked steel monster. And I love that the narration describes him as Salvador Dali's warped version of a porcupine, which is pretty accurate, actually.
I can't even hardly describe. It's like if Moon Knight was infected by one of the symbiotes. Like it's a very weird. He's silver. He's covered in spikes on his fists, wrists, head, chest.
Yeah.
Brooch.
Yeah.
No, no spikes on his brooch.
No. But yeah, it's really hilarious.
So we get this quick little battle here, which actually turns pretty violent.
Yeah.
The beast punches at him, slashes the beast's, what is this? What are we calling this thing? The porcupine?
Let's call it the silver porcupine.
The silver porcupine trudges towards the beast, slashes at him, cuts open his face, and we realize that this is indeed silver, so it's damaging the beast more than any normal weaponry would. And he kind of recovers and then lunges towards them, and it's just kind of a little battle royale here.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple battle action page, but my God, the next page is crazy. It's probably the coolest page of the issue.
Easily.
It's certainly the coolest page of the issue. So it's this full page illustration. At the top, there's like two silhouettes of the beast fighting the silver porcupine on top of this really large illustration of the beast just in agony as he's kind of being like crushed in a bear hug by this metal monster. And so remember, he has like these silver spikes. And so right now, as he's hugging the beast, it's just impaling him with these fucking silver spikes. It's super brutal, but God, it's fucking cool.
I mean, yes, you're correct. But I mean, even like the whole page is a pinup. It should be a goddamn poster, because in the background, there's these orange and pink and black swaths of when they put stuff down at like a electric Kool-Aid acid test and will project it up on the walls when a band played. It's just like oils of different colors. And there's a giant death's head just looming, a skull watching this fight in the background. I mean, if you weren't sure this wasn't happening in reality, you know now. And I love, first of all, how do you feel about the fact that somehow, even though Lessman's already colored before and Don's been doing the art for a while, the beast has a black and blue dog nose, like a typical funny animal dog nose, instead of normally it's just the brown coloring with black inks on top of it.
Oh, it's weird. So on the digital, we'll have to compare, but on the digital, it's nearly all blue.
It's almost all blue.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's my least favorite thing about the page. It doesn't ruin it for me, but it's weird. It's a weird choice.
Yeah, I'm tempted to scan this into Photoshop and just color it properly brown and just see how I respond, because this page is so great. That drawing of the beast screaming is so great and just drooling with pain, but his nose being doggy nose somehow it just feels weird to me, even though I know it makes sense logically.
Now I know, but to have like the original art for this page without color would be amazing.
Oh God. Yeah, and so this is another element of, last episode with Brad, we were talking about sometimes the description and the captions don't really do any kind of service to the art.
God,
here they don't do that. Let that happen again. Seriously, that's one. Okay. I know we're more than halfway through the run, but you get 3 and I'm out.
Okay, well, I've only gotten 1, so that's good.
Well, summer's coming. This here describes, again, adds to it, which I think you and I both love. So it's saying the silver porcupine grabs onto the beast and is like crushing him. And it says, Then there were puncturing sounds. So it's actually, you hear a gross, like physical sound of like silver penetrating flesh. And then it says, and the dizzy, queasy sensation of blood pumping out over silver spikes. Like, I love when he's adding stuff and you're not seeing it. You can't feel it because it's a comic book. So Munch is adding that in. That's when the stuff works and sings like that.
Yeah, you're right.
So as this is being, these boxers are hung around the beast screaming in pain, it makes the whole page just fucking badass. But on the next page, oh wait, we forgot something. Munch really goes out beyond the pale here in this one. I have to read this. The spikes gouged deeper. The chamber went dimmer than it already was. A ragged howl of excruciating torment welled from the werewolf's guts. Also, so far so good. He was dying, swiftly, like a slum dweller's credit rating punched into a computer card and spindled and mutilated on top of it.
God.
That was so bad I actually like it.
Yeah, it is. It's so colossally terrible that it is pretty funny.
And if you're a younger listener, computers used to take up whole rooms. And they had cards with punch holes in them. That was the program. And there weren't no ones and zeros back then. That was in Babylonia.
Yeah.
We had holes in cards. Anyway, on the next page, we get the inevitable, what is absolutely cliche to us at this point in time. It was all a dream. He wakes up screaming. Jack screaming, no! And it's a pretty good drawing of, and I mean, all around, it's good inking and stuff. But
every panel, it's good.
So we have achieved chapter 2, Home to Slay. Jack wakes up. He's a little out of sorts because he's like, oh, God, what a weird dream, So he's wiping the sleep out of his eyes, gets up, puts on his peach-colored button-up shirt and his green pants. And he goes downstairs and said, it's after 3 days of being here, it's kind of strange to be in Westwood again, after getting kicked out of Colden House. And so he's telling us, or Munch is telling us, that he no longer lives in Colden House and he's not with Buck in Venice. He is back in Westwood, which is a family estate. But the only problem is, since the first issue of Marvel Spotlight #2, they've lived off of the highway in Malibu, like a beach house. And I looked this place up. This is like where the UCLA campus is, and this is not where they live.
Yeah, but they have so many residences. So many.
I will accept that.
Yeah. No, and I love, so he's walking down the stairs and it's, I hit the foot of the stairs and stepped into a familiar aroma. Like, the aroma which wafts always from my stepfather's pipe. So we have Philip Russell. And he is sitting kind of splay-legged on the couch, like very, I mean, we've been talking about how he's retired the ascot and is very casual now that his stepchildren love him and call him dad. Because Philip's like, hello, Jack, good to see you back home. And Jack's like, Dad, where have you been? I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So he talks, he's been gone about a month. And he's been in Transylvania at the Russell family's baronial summer home. So remember, so many different places for them to go. And
yes, but the baronial home was the Dracula, the one they were at in Dracula, right? The crossover.
Yep, that's the one that has the broken solarium where they can look at Dracula's manor, right? Yeah.
But the one that was transported to North America.
That's the castle.
That's like that was a primary residence that Philip sold off.
Yeah, that was the main castle.
This was just a summer place.
Yeah, this is nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
But still, he's kind of bummed. So he goes to Transylvania, and he said he went there because he heard there were some mysterious deaths in town. And he was like, it might have something to do with us, so I'm going to go check it out. So he flies to Transylvania, goes to the summer home, and goes there and realizes he finds it in shambles, like the doors off the hinges, everything's all fucked up. And so he was like, yeah, that's where I've been. I remained there to investigate and see that the house was cleaned and repaired. And at this point in the story, Lissa shows up saying, morning, Jack. I see you finally woke up to join the reunion. And then, of course, she's so sweet. She's like, coffee's almost ready, Dad. It's just like,
we need to address something right now before we move forward at all.
Okay.
So we we went through a couple issues ago that Lessman just on a lark decided that Lissa has blonde hair now.
Yeah.
Now she has bangs. Like, so this is not just a coloring issue. The artists have conspired that she has a new look. She has bangs and bleached blonde hair. I don't want to get hung up on this, but that like it just feels like it was a weird thing to do without addressing. Again, we were joking at first, like you have to have somebody saying literally one panel, like, "Hey, I like your new hair." That's all it takes.
No, that is all it takes. And again, it's confusing because
she looks like Topaz.
Yeah, she looks like fucking Topaz. So they're bringing back this main character who is a blonde, but Topaz doesn't really have bangs. Like maybe that's why. Maybe they gave her bangs so to be like, oh, that's how 12-year-old boys will tell them apart. And I'm like, oh, dude, but that's not how it's going to happen.
Honestly, like what are you? What kind of evil seeds are you sowing? Like, let's make the sister look just like the guy that our hero's in love with.
No, it's creepy.
She looks just like her.
No, it's messed up. It's not the greatest coloring or art choice.
Okay, so I have some questions here. I know we want to just blow through this as a giant size, but I've been thinking a lot about this because I read this a couple times, and it is April 20th. I feel like there was a miss here. Because it felt to me like in a Days or Dark Shadows world, Philip would have been, there'd be an insinuation that Philip might possibly be Lissa's dad, which would allow you a bunch of storylines of like, that's why he is overly invested in finding a cure for her before the fact. You know, like he's compromised by his love for her so he can be leveraged by enemies to do stupid things because it's not his niece, it's his actual flesh and blood daughter. I mean, just that kind of, it's like it was a miss.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It would have definitely added another layer of kind of weird tragedy and drama to it. So
yeah, and I dig all that stuff, all that Peyton's Place. Like, why was he here before? Why did his brother stay in Europe and he came here? Why does he not have an accent? Why is he an American for all intents and purposes? Like, just a bunch of loose ends we could have made hay out of and tied up instead of just kind of ignored and just, you know what I mean? Like, he's not really a character. Since he came out and said, I'm actually your uncle. Yeah. I didn't kill your mom. I was trying to stop it. And they all hugged. He just disappeared off the map dramatically.
Yeah. So, no, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Okay. Right. All right. So on the next page, he continues flashing back to them and saying, he was looking around hoping that they were searching for the Darkhold. And the only clue he managed to come up with from the people in the village was that there's a band of gypsies up at their house and that there's a blonde girl in the company of them. So that's the big clue here. Mm-hmm. And Jack, there's this great panel of Jack, which, in my opinion, Perlin and Trapani together, this is just gold to me. Like it's almost like Toth. I don't know who it looks like to me, but
it totally looks like Toth. You're right. You're right on that.
Like, I love the choice that there's Jack's surprised when he hears this thing about the blonde girl, and it's drawn and inked perfectly, and there's this halo of blue around him, which would be the wall or the background. But then there was a choice to ink in all around that, so it's almost like this static electricity coming off of Jack. It's just a totally stylized, cool thing that was not called for and totally appreciated. But he says that blonde girl must have been Topaz, and she was using her mental powers to communicate with me while I was asleep. The castle she kept referring to must have been the summer house in Transylvania, not the rebuilt one off Monterey. And they're like, wait, what are you talking about, Jack? So, the werewolf did a pretty good job. It's wrong castle. Yeah. And that happens all the time, like in sitcoms.
Get the wrong
family castle are we supposed to go to? He's like, hey, I got to go check this out. I think I know what this is all about. And Lissa says, hey, I'm the one that's going to turn 18 here soon. I have a huge interest in this. Let me come with you. And she says, besides, Topaz is my friend too, So they decide to head off to Transylvania ASAP.
Yeah, even though, Philip reminds him, he's like, but you can't go over there now. Tonight's the first night of the... Jack's like, I don't care what night it is. If Topaz is in trouble, I'm going. So my clock started then. I'm like, okay, so he woke up. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. He's a lazy rich kid. So what time did he wake up? Do you
10:30.
Okay, 10:30. That's perfect. And so, all right, he finds this shit out. Maybe they've talked for like half an hour. And then at the next page, it says, we pulled into LA airport within the hour. And after picking up our luggage, we bumped into Buck Cowan, my writer friend and adopted godfather figure. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I actually think that's the best he's been described. And again, like Jack's face in that panel looks so like like a half Eisner, half Toth, like just great.
Yeah,
the Jack
great.
panels are perfect in this issue. And so Buck says that, Philip told him what was going on, and Buck decided they needed the expertise of a seasoned traveler. So, okay. So they get on the plane. This is the night of the full moon. They're flying from LA to Transylvania. How long of a flight is that, do you think?
I would have to think that would be, I mean, what, you transfer in New York, right? Typically, or
I would think so.
Miami. So that's got to be 15 hours.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that the time is a little wonky.
Oh, it's terrible
because they're going through multiple time zones.
No, they're rushing towards a full moon.
Yeah, they're rushing towards the full
giant
moon.
Steel tube.
So I'm just like, oh yeah, that should have worked out horribly, just like Philip said. He's just like, no, dumbass, you can't do that.
No, you can't. You literally can't.
You literally cannot.
Without being a Hannibal Lecter, like, body thing.
So they arrive, still light out. So we're just going to give them that. That's fine. But what really incensed me on this page is that they stay at Ye Old Boot Inn, the same place they stayed before when Jack murdered Scratcher Martin.
I'm pretty sure he bashed his head into the cobblestone streets until it was just jelly.
He did.
Right?
He's like, oh, no, I know this place. They'll give me a good rate. Like, yeah, it just seemed the height of stupidity. This seems like something that Buck, had he known, he would have been like, no, we're going to go to the one other Ye Old Inn that's in Transylvania.
Well, it says, I tasted bitter deja vu. How much more remorse do you need from this guy?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Topaz was going to turn him into the fucking cops after he did that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
This was a big deal.
So I really liked Buck on this page because this is where some adult sanity comes in. First of all, Buck is a worldly guy that's traveled around, done stories. He's done reporter everywhere. Like, he's like, since I realized you two ugly Americans could use the expertise of a seasoned traveler like myself, I figured I'd do you a favor by coming along, which is so true. I can't imagine these two Kardashian kids coming into this to deal with Romani relations. Right?
Yeah.
But then I love this panel of them all sitting on the plane together and Buck explaining, besides Jack, just who did you think was going to take care of Lissa once the full moon splashes down on you? Now, there is a history of the beast differentiating between family and not family. So Jack isn't the worst here, but Buck makes a very good point of like, did you really just think you could just take your box of grenades and do an international flight and this would all work out so great? Like, kind of shitty planning, friend.
It's shitty planning, and it's Jack being so stupid. I wish that there were more consequences for him being so stupid. I'm taking a drink just because he's being so stupid. I don't care if he didn't.
Yeah, we technically missed a moon.
Oh, shit, we did miss a moon. All right.
That's not even a drink, but I'm drinking just because that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the next page, they're looking across the street and seeing an anachronistic group of villagers holding their torches and their pitchforks. And there's this guy that looks like Jarvis, kind of like Transylvania Jarvis. And he's getting them all whipped up into a frenzy, saying, wives and children and friends attacked by merciless fiends and then left to lie and dying in our streets. I tell you, this must not go on. It must stop at once. Too many have been killed. And it won't stop by itself. Even the authorities have been unable to put an end to this plague of foul murder. So he's getting them all whipped up into a frenzy. They start blaming it on the vagabonds, the gypsies that they've been seeing around town associated with these deaths. And he says, and we know where they are. They've been up at Rusoff Manor. I say we must storm the manor and purge their evil from our land once and for all. So Jack and Lissa and Buck are listening like, Topaz, this is the danger she tried to warn me about. If she's with the gypsies, and if the villagers plan to march on the gypsies, then I've got to reach the manor before the villagers do. And he just bolts off full on Venture Brothers, like fucking leaning over at a 40-degree angle. Or Topaz will die. And Buck says, Jack, come back here. You can't leave now. And in the far distance, as Jack's bolting off, you see Rusoff Manor looming over the entire village, which is a nice little touch there.
Yeah, this is a cool page. I like. Yeah, but this guy is really whipping up some anti-Romani sentiment here. He's not. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. There's a lot of gypsy bashing coming up. A lot of unkind words about the Romani people. But it's a bit of a revenge fantasy too, kind of.
Yes.
I mean, I think there's some payoff at the end.
It made it sit better with me.
Yeah, it did. It made the whole issue sit a lot better with me. So yeah, Jack, runs to the manor and finds the door open, like he did before, and he sees this shimmering light that turns into Topaz, and she's in chains. And she says, and he's like, Topaz. She says, yes, Jack, but you're too late. They've already captured me, imprisoned me in chain. And underneath it says, I didn't understand. The mob of villagers couldn't have arrived before me. And the next kind of slender panel says, then the moon framed its ugly face in a window casement. And then we see Jack kind of holding his head in pain because we know what's about to happen. Did it catch unawares?
Yes, we need to drink for that.
Let's drink again.
I think even if it's like he is aware, but he just recklessly throws it aside, that's the same as being unaware.
Mm-hmm. I think that's totally fair.
Okay. I like those last two panels there. The moon framed its ugly face.
Yeah,
you don't often hear the moon being described as ugly by poets or just regular folk. It's usually kind of a thing that's whatever. But we get that copy at that last panel where he's clutching his head and changing that, I love you, and I think you love as well, when Munch really does that description of the pleasurable pain, the kind of S&M weird quality of the transformation. Yeah. Forgot about everything except the exquisite agony which burned in my gut and cracked my head like a walnut. Just kind of creepy stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Jack Russell was dying, and it wasn't difficult to guess who'd be reborn in his place. In the meanwhile, the villagers have approached Rusoff Manor. They're outside yelling. They're throwing in rocks, breaking windows, throwing torches in. Slim Pickens says, look, up there, up on the roof, it's a werewolf. And we get this great shot of our transformed Jack, who is now the beast, and he's standing up on the balustrade of the balcony, growling. And they're all looking at him. And then it says, I like this little touch here. It says, correction, the thing which had stolen my body growled. So they're all chucking torches up at the werewolf. They're saying, it's the Rusoff werewolf. And I love that kind of weird confusion of like, oh, it's like the Phantom, right? Like there's always a Phantom. You don't realize that this guy is mating and raising his children and grooming them, and then he dies and they become the Phantom. Like it's just like, it's just there's always a Rusoff werewolf.
So cool. So
they break the door in, they charge upstairs, and they confront the werewolf on the balcony. We've got the beast cornered.
Yeah, good call on Slim Pickens for that villager with the torch. And you're right. I mean, I know it's Transylvania, but yeah, these crowds are so anachronistic. Like they just, I know people didn't look like that in the 70s.
No, 1975.
1975 too. I know. So yeah, the villagers attack, and the beast gets a pitchfork stabbed into his arm, and then he just starts tearing into the crowd. Like the narration reads, so he scattered the villagers as though they were 10 pins on Bald Mountain, but he was one shy of a strike. And the one who was left standing just happened to be an old hand at the game of torch flinging.
Torch flinging.
Torch flinging. Yeah.
That's the best.
That's a sentence. That's a long, confusing sentence with two different games.
So let's talk a bit about the action on this page. I thought it was pretty badass.
Yeah, I think it's totally badass.
So that top left panel is like such gothic classic, like werewolf crouched down defensively as two torches are being poked in his face. There's a pitchfork coming off to his side that he doesn't see in his peripheral vision. He gets jabbed, and then he just starts fucking these hayseeds up.
It's just,
I mean, just hack and slash.
yeah, slashing their faces.
Ronco werewolf tool. Yeah, then that torch gets chucked, which is a new thing to me. But it says, admittedly, the moon beast is virtually fearless, but like the villagers had said, he is afraid of fire. So he's like, there's a couple of torches hitting his fur and singeing him. So he jumps off the balcony, he grabs onto a tree branch, lithely drops down to his feet. And this whole sequence coming up here is just nicely like that Universal, again, Hammer, the thing where they pump in all that fake fog and there's the trees. I mean, it's just perfect Universal Wolfman stuff here.
Yeah.
He runs off through the fog. The villagers are saying, blast, we almost had the demon. And then the guy's like, aye, but like as not, we'll still get him. Once we locate the gypsies new, and then they turn and look. And Lissa and Buck have just kind of photobombed their conversation, just like insinuated themselves into it. Like, and who might you two be? And Lissa says, think fast, Buck. He's like, oh, well, we've been dispatched here by the authorities to help you. Our immediate purpose is to investigate the background of the recent spate of murders terrorizing your village. Like, oh, well, you won't be doing any investigating here. We have no use for the authorities. So you can just go back to them and tell them. And then the guy's like, whoa, easy, Srinzi. These two mean us no harm. They're certainly not gypsies. So we know they're okay.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, they look like city folk, Americans by their accent. And the way I see it, we've nothing to lose by cooperating with them. Okay, first of all, these are small town folks who don't want any outside intervention, but they're okay with the authorities if it's American outlanders coming in and telling them what to do.
Dressed in modern clothing.
Yeah.
No, this is a plot to a McCloud episode. This is a plot to like 9 McCloud episodes where he goes to some weird fucking country and tries to get involved in their shit. And at first they're like, what are you doing here, American in a cowboy hat? And then they're like, oh, you're okay. You're McCloud. Like, let's go solve this mystery. No jurisdiction.
I was just scared Buck's pager would go off and they would start throwing poop at him and like, or bowing. He's a god now.
He's a god. Oh, it's such a funny, it's such a funny plot twist. I love it. So yeah, the next page, the main villager starts to tell Buck and Lissa what's happened, what's got them all excited. And he says, it started almost 2 months ago and hasn't stopped yet. It's always the same. 1 or 2 of our villagers, foolish enough to brave a secluded section of town, suddenly find themselves facing death, swooping from nowhere and striking like lightning. And so, yeah, it says, and the most horrible thing about these murders is that there never seems to be a reason for them. Nothing's ever stolen. The bodies are never molested. Nothing but gruesome, motiveless murder. And so, yeah, we see this couple, kind of beset upon by these 3 men with knives, and they're kind of in shadow. You can't really see a whole lot about them, which comes up later. But now we've reached chapter 3, entitled "Vengeance in Death."
Yeah, it's a shame this happened to this nice couple. The guy's got the Greek fisherman hat on, so they just you can't just go into a pub in 1876 anymore and walk out into 1975 without getting murdered randomly by gypsy folk. It's a shame, is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm going to kind of speed this up because I think we want to get to the big reveal here at the end. So there's a nice sequence here with the fog and sharded woods, very much like the Universal Wolfman movie. They're stalking around, and the beast, actually, we do need a drink, though, because the beast, he went to the forest.
Yep, he did.
So I like that it says he stalked around with unquenchable sense of territorial imperative. So there's a thing I like about this where it's like Jack, or the beast, realizes on a very core level, this is his homeland. This is where he belongs, and these are his woods. And so he sees these lights far off the distance, and he stalks towards them, and he finds
the Romani encampment and finds Topaz caged and sleeping in this wagon on the outskirts of the camp. She looks kind of drugged up. And so, yeah, that's our big reveal. But then at the bottom, on those last 2 panels, we switch to Buck and Lissa like holding hands, walking through this forest that has an even more insane level of fog.
Yeah.
Like the fog just keeps ratcheting up. It's so great. And then, yeah, just like Jack in that last panel, Lissa sees a light. It's like, look, Buck, a light.
So back to the cage. Topaz is confused because she's been drugged and everything. So she says, Jack, is it you, Jack? So weak, I've been drugged, Jack, by herbs, hypnosis. And the beast seems to be kind of understanding because she starts sending out her tendrils of psychic control. Says, listen to me, Jack. I'm going to try to establish mental control with you to weaken the beast and reach down to your human intellect. You've got to help me, Jack. You've got to free me before it's too late. And that great panel there of the beast, like receiving the mental transmissions. Just glorious. I mean, I love it. It says, I felt it then, her mind pouring into mine like white hot silver, which drowned the beast within me. And he looks kind of shocked, relieved, angry, just kind of the whole gamut. She says, there's little time, Jack. She's coming. I can feel her in my mind. Free me, Jack, before she kills us both. And so he starts yanking on the bars of this like circus cage, essentially. And then he hears, you. And he turns around and he sees this Jack Davis, EC, old crone hag looking at him. She says, beast, you're the cause of all my misery, all my suffering. Yeah, and man, in that next page, in the first panel, full-on Jack Davis. That might as well be a Jack Davis illustration. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, that's a perfect call. And the old woman says, you must pay for my life of torment with your blood. And so she takes this like this blanket and kind of rips it off and reveals this giant fucking bear with a spiked silver collar and like silver gauntlets. Obviously a callback to the dream that he had earlier. And so I think a lot of shit happens really fast on this page. Like this is where I imagine just the action like takes off from this page because we get the big reveal of the fucking bear. Then Topaz just kind of cries out in agony. It's just like, Jack, my mind, her hatred is piercing my mind. And the old crone releases the bear and it's just like, kill him. And then those bottom three panels are so cool. They're great. They're switching between like a collapsing Topaz and the bear and the beast like squaring off. It's just rad. Like I love this page because so much shit happens. Like the action just ratchets up. Yeah, but I mean, it's like, you know, your typical circle the wagons little thing of like gypsy people in a little nice campfire. It's a very picturesque spot. Yeah, full moon. But there's a werewolf and an old crone and a goth bear fighting. Oh man, a goth with the spiked collar. God, it's so weird. Yeah, it's so awesome. But those bottom two panels of Topaz are so gorgeous too. They're just so amazing. Yeah, no, she's amazing. So we cut to the next page. The crone says, maul him, slash his hellish hide with your silvered claws. Make him feel the pain I have felt. And Jack, in the narration, refers to the bear as Bruno, which seemed like a weird... Sometimes there's these weird little flippant tone things that I just don't get from Munch. Bruno... I assumed that was some kind of obscure, like, reference to some... Well, I think he's... Yeah, so this page is covered with this. So the bear's fighting, and he's saying, Bruno may well have placed somewhere in the outer limits of the heavyweight division, but he was certainly no slouch in the speedster category, meaning that the bear's really fast, and he's covered with weapon implements, so he's dangerous. And for a panicky moment, it looked as though the werewolf would be pinned at the bottom of a silver-tipped lunge. And then the beast gets a good swipe out and says, but he managed to lay a vicious swipe right at the bear's snoot, which I love that Munch took snout and chose to go with snoot, which made me, it endeared me. Simultaneously rolling free, almost in time, and he gets another swipe. This stuff goes on and on. They're fighting and fighting, and Topaz is out. And so the beast gets a good swipe in on the bear. It says, knowing full well that bears don't cotton to ruffled fur. And the werewolf's too stupid to realize things like that. So pretty savage fight here between wild animal and wild manimal. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, every panel in this page is super great. I started to just get more and more excited as I was turning the pages on this issue. So the next page, we switch to Buck and Lissa. They come out of the forest and see all this crazy shit going down.
And Buck, I thought this was an interesting exchange for them. Buck's doing his normal, like, cool in the face of drama thing. You say, that's Jack, all right, smack in the middle of the tightest spot he could find. And Lissa gets mad at him, just like, how can you be facetious, Buck? It's horrible. And then he's like, and weird too. Look at those gypsies. They act as though they don't even care. Yeah, Buck doesn't even acknowledge her.
What was her deal right there?
I don't know.
She's normally a pretty cool hang.
Yeah. They were just holding hands in the fog.
Yeah. I feel like her severe bangs and her new busy today's modern woman executive look have kind of gotten to her head. I liked her back when she was a hippie girl.
With her hip huggers. The hip huggers are gone, Matt.
She's already a fucking yuppie. She's like climbing the corporate ladder.
She is.
I don't feel comfortable with the way that you're describing my brother.
Yeah, so
it's like, dude, I'm Hunter S. Thompson. I'm the fucking analog Hunter S. Thompson here. Give me a break.
So yeah, but Buck does kind of it's foreshadowing to what's going to happen. He's talking about that these other gypsies in the encampment, act as that they don't even care. They seem kind of, zombified even. And so the fight continues. There's a really terrible line that I didn't even know if I wanted to bring attention to, but I think I'm going to have to. It's a line that Doug writes at the bottom saying, while the shrieking crone, talking about this old woman who has been screaming, kill him this whole time, while the shrieking crone made like a diabolic cheerleader in gypsy drag.
Thank you for bringing
that
up.
Man, that was rough. It was so funny in my notes. I'm just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't call attention to that. Then I'm like, no, it's just terrible enough that you need to call attention to it.
It is. And at the top of the page, it says, and so it went, describing the fight continuing. The frenzied fur-flying exhibition raging on against a flickering spotlight of gypsy campfire with the Maria, I don't know how to say her name, Ospenskaya type, kibitzing from the sidelines. So, she's that, in the Universal movies in the 30s, she was the little ethnic Eastern European woman they used to be Bela Lugosi's mom in The Wolfman. She was always the little gypsy woman, little wizened gypsy woman. So, they call the character is Maria, for God's sake. They didn't even stray from saying she's like a Maria Oskunspaya type. Like she's
called Maria. Like in the
her name is Maria.
Her name's Maria. Like I know. This is when you're just like, I was overlooking the many uses of gypsy because, of course, it was, very normalized at the time, which is shitty. But yeah, this just took it a tiny bit too far to where I was like, it was just shitty enough that it kind of pulled me out of the action a little bit, aside from being a real clunky line anyways. Like, it's not a good line. So anyhow, moving past that. So the last panel, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say that diabolic cheerleader and gypsy drag. Yeah. That did kind of affect me.
Yeah.
Like, I think I want to write poetry now.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about, you listen to Jim Morrison's, like, the spoken word shit.
An American Prayer.
Indians scattered on Dawn's highway bleeding. Ghosts crowd the young child's fragile eggshell mind. See? We're just one notch away from that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Bad poetry that people seem to forgive.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, whose page is it? It is 420.
Oh.
Did we just do your page or my page? That was your page.
Yep.
And that's me. I'll cut that out.
Don't.
Or I will not. I'm going to finish my pot bourbon drink. Okay. So we cut to the next page. And Buck and Lissa are on the case of getting Topaz free because they realize that's the one advantage or opportunity they have here to get out of this situation. Lissa says, look, Buck, Jack's hunch was right. That's Topaz in the wagon. And was it just me or was it creepy that she passed out with her head between the bars and she was there like a mannequin for like several pages in this weird, lifeless, I don't know. It just felt weird. Like just this panel here looked weird with her head hanging out like some kind of creepy serial killer mannequin with a wig on it or something.
No, this comes up and I'm sure we'll talk about this at the end, but I'm so happy to see Topaz again, but I don't necessarily like how they treated her.
I don't think Munch has a read on her at all yet.
I don't think he doesn't understand how powerful she is. He just is putting her in these weird distress situations to ratchet the tension, but her character is much more than that. Like she's not a damsel in distress, and that's a shitty thing to do anyways. But I mean, yeah, it started to offend me a bit at this point.
Well, I wondered if it was him trying to get a handle on her with his, limited knowledge of her and just kind of saying, like, I know she's a Deus Ex Machina. Like, I can't just, you know what I mean? Like, she'd be like Jean Grey in the situation. Like, she could solve this. So, like, just.
And she kind of does. So I'll give him that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I get that he needs to take it out of the equation for some drama to happen at the end, but he treated her like a rag doll and like she was. It was weird. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Well, and it's especially weird. And it's funny that, because we've compared her to Jean Grey before, just being like, no, she's super powerful. But she does stuff that even Jean Grey can't do in this issue. So, yeah, let's get to that. I want to talk to that.
Okay. So it's kind of an odd panel of Lissa and Buck saying they have to free her. Maybe she can control Jack so they can get control of the situation. And Buck says, well, I'll get up on the roof and I'll try and bash in the top. You try and get through the bars. And he grabs an axe. And meanwhile, the werewolf and the bear are still continuing to fight. And there's some more Munchian weird 30s fetishism where he says the werewolf just couldn't win. He wasn't the type to wear a bearskin coat to a college football games like Doug Harold Lloyd Munch.
I know. He's so hip. He's talking the hip speak of 70s hippies.
And he continues, and he never once set a forest fire. So the joke being that, I haven't offended this bear by wearing a bearskin jacket to a college game like they did in the oldie days, or starting a fire, which would upset Smokey.
Yeah, this is the hackiest narration of the issue.
It's pretty bad. Meanwhile, Buck is hacking into the cage, and once he drops in, Topaz has been woken by Lissa.
I do like he's chopping the ceiling away and yelling down to Lissa, slap her face, Lissa. And she's like, I am. Like,
slap harder.
Yeah, that made me laugh for some reason. And so, yeah, Topaz is just like, oh, Lissa. And then Buck is obviously through the ceiling. And then he's like, and Buck Cowan, Topaz. And then just kind of chops her chains off, and then he says, at your grim service. So he's still trying to, lighten the mood with his one-line zingers.
And this drawing on that same panel of Topaz is Perlin channeling Plug. That is the most.
That is Plug. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a swipe. Like it's just it's so
perfect.
I don't know why he would do that, but it's like a Xerox. Plug.
Perlin does not do the cheekbones the way Plug does, and Topaz has Plug cheekbones right there.
Yeah, I know. Just fucking gorgeous. Just reminds me what we miss. I love Perlin, but I'm always going to be a little sad.
Me too.
About Plug. So yeah, Topaz explains to Buck, the old woman has been using me as a familiar like Taboo did, using herbal drugs to weaken my mind and hypnosis to control it. And then it switches back to the bear fighting the beast again, and he's just slashing at the beast and smashing him. And then he's like, oh, the silver. And then the narration says, silver. Suddenly a shred of Jack returned, and I gaped at an apparition of the silver creature from my nightmare. That meant that Topaz was free and trying to communicate with me. I had to go to her, save her. So I leaped into the bear's face with renewed desperation, and there's a fire behind him.
I love this part.
I know.
So it says, and used him as a pole to vault the campfire. I cleared it. The bear didn't. So basically the beast just did that thing where he jumps on top of the bear's chest, plants his hands into his shoulders and head, and then throws him into the fire and jumps clear of the fire at the same time. Brilliant move.
Yeah.
But the crone says, my pet. He's killed my pet. Come forward, gypsies. Come forward and slay the beast responsible for our torment. And there's this middle row sequence here of 3 panels that are all the same size to show kind of like same scale but change in motion position. This is the creepiest part for me of this whole issue.
Oh yeah.
So we get kind of basically in silhouettes almost of three gypsy type gypsy type characters approaching the camera in silhouette. And then they get closer and there's more moonlight bathed on them. You can see them. And it says, at first, they seemed reluctant to leave the shadows. And when they stepped forward into the light, and the third panel get this full reveal, it was apparent why. And you see that they are long dead, revived corpses that have been animated by magic. So these gypsies are like the one on the left with the gaucho hat or whatever on. It fucking freaks me out the way his like upper lip has like completely curled up and pruned up into itself. He looks horrifying. The other two look scary in like an EC just generic zombie way. The dude on the left looks like a corpse that was like a floater in the river for a week and then brought back to life. It freaks me out.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Topaz says, Maria, stop. Don't make them suffer anymore. And she puts the mind whammy on Maria. She's like, you? But how did you escape? And that's when Topaz slapped a mind link on the old woman, which meant that she had to release her mental control of me. So she had stopped Jack from moving, the beast from moving. Now he's free. So he's attacking these desiccated, strange gypsy corpses and slashing them up, which he calls lusty mayhem.
Lusty mayhem. I love that.
The last panel is great of that same guy, I think, that freaked me out, holding a knife by the point, like he's got an earring in and a bandana with a gaucho hat on top. So he's definitely a performer. And he's off in the shadows, one of the grotesque gypsies with a knife, a silver knife. So he's lifting it up and getting ready to throw it at the beast.
No, this is an EC comic now. This is Tales.
Totally.
And it's just fucking awesome. So yeah, the next page, Topaz is using her mind powers. There's some Plug plasma there a little bit.
Yep.
And says, release them, Maria. Let the gypsies go to their rightful peace. Jack Russell is not your enemy. And then in the middle panel, Maria starts to look confused, saying, Jack, no, he is not my enemy. And then the third panel, and the narration above that says, then abruptly Topaz drove her mental point home, pulling the woman from the haze of her insanity. And then Maria just kind of gets real quiet. It's like, oh no, like what have I done?
Which, as a Twin Peakser,
yeah,
sure you're thinking of Bob and Leland, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's like that veil's lifted, and then they're faced with what they've actually done.
Pull the ripcord.
Yeah, pull the ripcord. And then it says, just as the lurking gypsy cocked his knife arm, and then Maria kind of runs out in front saying, no, Emil, it's wrong to kill him. Do not throw your... He throws the knife and it just buries itself into Maria's chest. It says at the last possible instant, she hurled herself into the path of the streaking knife, intercepting it with her life. And the narration says it was her last act, and one perhaps designed to atone for all that had gone before. Then as she crumpled to the ground, so did the moldering gypsies crumble. Then that last panel is as the first rays of dawn slid over the horizon and brought Jack Russell, me, back to life. And we get a one-panel transformation, which we don't get very often.
Not enough, based on this.
Oh, and it's so cool. Like,
I love it.
It's such a great panel. Yeah, we're definitely posting that. I loved it. So yeah, Maria is dead. And the zombies have been, the life has been taken out of them as well.
She's not dead. She's mortally slain.
She's not dead, yes.
So Jack goes and props her up. And one of the few panels I do not like in this whole issue, he looked like he was 65 years old and in a Benson and Hedges ad.
Yeah, that was a weird one. That's a rushed panel.
That panel made no sense to me.
No.
So he goes and props her up as she's dying. And she says, forgive me, but grief and vengeance blinded me to the bond of blood, my grandson. And then her breath died. And Jack says, grandson? Topaz says, yes, Jack, she was Maria Rusoff, your father's mother, and once a very kind and good woman. I know because I've lived in her mind. And so we flash back to seeing her. She'd been away during the time your father translated the Darkhold and became a werewolf, Jack. And when she returned, the villagers accused her of spawning a demon. And then we see on the next panel that all the people are throwing rocks at her and taunting her in the town, center of town. Of consorting with Satan to mother a werewolf, they stoned her, Jack, and cast her out of the village, even preventing her from returning to Rusoff Manor. Thus, homeless and starving, she wandered the woods for days, until she finally stumbled into a gypsy camp. And here's where we meet the people that we saw dead and reanimated, going to help her and offer her shelter. The gypsies fed her, embraced her as one of their own, and she spent 15 happy years with them.
Yeah, so this is such a huge reveal, and the story goes on. In the next page, it says 15 years, which ended in shocking tragedy and the destruction of her second home. She'd been gathering firewood, and when she returned to the camp, she found the gypsies slaughtered by villagers who considered them nothing but thieves and cutthroats. It says, and it snapped her mind, and she vowed bloody vengeance on the villagers who had cast her out and slain her adopted tribe. Which is, yeah, this is awesome. This is where it becomes...
Great reveal.
Oh, it's a great reveal, and it becomes the awesome revenge fantasy. She's like, no, I'm going to fuck those villagers up because they totally killed my beautiful Romani family. And she says she also swore vengeance on the werewolf, which had initiated her nightmare ordeal, determined to exercise her vendetta through use of the minimal sorcery or mind power she had learned from the gypsies. So, Topaz kind of finishes the story. She says, she's captured me up in the manor, Jack. I'd regained most of my powers in India, which I want to hear more about, but we don't.
Yeah, no kidding.
And returned here to see if I could find something to help you. Instead, I found myself enslaved to Maria Rusoff's deranged hatred. She used my mind as a funnel for her power and forced me to revive the gypsies. So Topaz is strong enough to raise the dead back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So she's Jean Grey, but also a necromancer.
Yeah, and this isn't like, hold your breath and cross your eyes, like I can do it for 30 seconds thing. Like, it's a sustained life. Yeah, crazy.
Oh, my God, I know. And so, so then she says, and then using my channeled mind powers to direct the gypsies, she sent them down to the village to murder in the name of revenge. But it wasn't her fault, Jack. Anyone would have broken after enduring what she did. So, okay, Topaz is complicated. She and this is where I kind of was thinking about her history and how she's really been used for a large portion of her existence by other people.
That's how she defines herself.
Yeah. And that she defines herself because she's being used as a conduit. Like, she's extremely powerful.
Yeah.
But she's used as like this unwitting vehicle for tons of murder. Like those zombie Romani she reanimated have killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, so I have no idea why she's still like so morally upright and virtuous. Like, if I had her life, I would be a zombie making supervillain. I'd really feel for her. It's just kind of, she's kind of just been in these really shitty situations, but still comes out of it so empathetic and kind. And so she's been telling this story, and one of the villagers comes up to Jack and says, "Oh, we've heard some of what the girl just said, and we'll see there's a proper burial, one that befits a woman of the Baroness Rusoff's standing." And he's like, "Yeah, thanks a lot. Too bad you didn't befit her standing when she was still alive." And that's the end. That's the last panel, which is, it's really beautiful and really sad.
Yeah. I like to think maybe Topaz just hasn't met the right man. For her. So.
I don't know. I'm ready for Topaz not to be a victim anymore. I'm ready for her to just start kicking ass. Don't know why she didn't have a solo book. And I know she turns up. She turns up a few different times in Marvel Comics after this. About every decade or so, she pops up again.
Yeah.
And, but I've always been, I don't know why she wasn't used more extensively. But anyhow, that's the end of the issue. We get a little teaser. It says, next issue, another 30-page excursion into fear when the werewolf faces Morbius. And that was what we were talking about last episode with Brad. And so I think it's a month from now, that we'll be talking about Giant Size Werewolf 4.
Good.
So thoughts
on the issue?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I love the art all the way through. I love the pencils and inks and the colors. I'm having an issue with Munch's use of, how do you say? I'm not understanding why he does this thing where he sets stuff up in these acts. I know why he does it in this, because these have literally 3 acts and they're very clearly defined. But I feel like Munch is keeping everything cool at his breast pocket until the last 5 pages of everything, and dumping this thing where it's just every 12-year-old boy's like, God, what if that had been a whole issue? What if that had been 3 more pages? Like,
but that's kind of his style. I'm curious. I'd like to read more of his black and white magazine, and I can't wait to get into the Planet of the Apes stuff that you're almost done with, to see if this is a pattern, or if this is something that he felt like he had to fit his storytelling into this mold because his audience is 12 years old instead of 19.
Yeah, I mean, just based on what I've read here and the Planet stuff, I feel like it's definitely a comic book thing he does.
Yeah.
Which is not a compliment.
But, this issue had a lot of crazy important lore to the Rusoff family saga. Like, I can't believe that this is in a giant size. I was trying to figure out, like, is this a smart move on Marvel's part? Like, tying the story in this giant size issue, like, so closely to the main title? Because also, like, next issue in the main title, Topaz is just back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just, and if I was a kid that was just reading the main title, I would be like, holy fuck, what happened? I would have to then go and search all the actual newsstands.
Well, I think the idea was definitely to make you feel like you need to be, the FOMO.
Yeah, but am I wrong in thinking that chronologically this came out like a month before?
Yeah, I did.
And with how long things stay on the newsstand, I was just like, it's kind of a giant middle finger, because the kid that reads the next issue is like, holy shit, I need the giant size issue. And that's probably long gone. Yeah,
that's a good point. But I think that they were probably realizing that, I mean, at this point, right, mid-70s, they're expanding their line and kind of doing that, shark, like, gotta keep moving forward, you die thing. Like, Marvel's just capitalism writ small. Like,
yeah,
there was the Marvel team up books, right? I think at this point, kids had talked to each other and like, you realize that thing that happened with Spider-Man and Ben Grimm doesn't really happen in Fantastic Four or Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Doesn't matter.
And then you start, Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man comes out, and it's just like this kind of like, what can you burn? Because there's too many fucking things to buy now.
Yeah.
So it feels like if you throw in like a Topaz coming back or something in a ancillary title, it's like, oh shit, I actually have to buy everything.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's very effective. I mean, I would be pissed if I missed out on this issue.
So would I. Stuff like this burned my ass. Which, it's so weird when that Spider-Man versus Wolverine or whatever that one shot was. I forgot who wrote that, but back in the day, that was a big deal. And like a bunch of storylines came out of that. And that was a standalone one shot, I think, it wasn't in comic shops, I don't think. I mean, it was in comic shops, but not like in grocery stores. Like, it was a direct market, right? Wasn't it kind of violent at the time?
Yeah, I think that was a direct market only thing.
So like a bunch of stuff came out of that. And that was I mean, obviously everyone's going to buy, 1986? I mean,
yeah, everyone's going to buy Wolverine.
The 2 most popular characters at the time, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, like, they kept referencing it, like, even in the early 90s, the fallout from that and the Hobgoblin legacy thing. And this is me rambling. Sorry. So I like this story a lot. I love the art. I love seeing Topaz back. I like the final act. I love getting the details in the family history. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, I think that there were opportunities to fill that stuff out that were missed by everybody. The castle, the lineage, the legacy, the way it's like a bloodline equivalent of a ley line for just bad stuff. Like, it's tied into the Darkhold in a cosmic, whatever, molecular way. So bad stuff happens around Rusoffs.
But that, you're right. It's shocking that it's not used all the time. Like, that's story gold.
Yeah, it is. It's a golden egg layer. And so, yeah, they're making work for themselves by not doing that, I guess. And I think it's more artistically interesting.
But what I'm most curious about is Weremail.
Right. So we had 3. I'm going to choose a fun one that just is like, hey, I love life.
They were rough last episode. Those letters were rough.
Except for that Thor one, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sooth. Okay, so this one's happy. Dear Marvel, I enjoyed Giant Size Werewolf number 2 immensely. I especially liked the Frankenstein monster meeting the werewolf. Seeing the monster in a color comic was pretty interesting. I would like to see the monster have a few present adventures in his color comic. The monster's humanity showed itself when he saved the werewolf from the dagger. Was the dagger silver? Because I heard only silver can kill a bona fide werewolf. The fight scenes were pretty interesting too. These 2 great Marvel monsters together were sheer delight. I hope the Beast will team up with the werewolf. Oh, he means Hank. Okay, whoa. The Beast would understand Jack's plight because of the similarity to his own. When the X-Men come back, will the Beast rejoin? I sure hope so. Make mine Marvel. Maurice Kane, L.A., California.
All right, yeah, that was good. That was
clearly a little kid, just
being like, guys,
that perfect age.
Beast interacting with the werewolf? That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very excited.
Back when just being alive was like being stoned.
Yeah.
Remember? When you were a little kid. Response being, to wit, we had other plans for the Beast, Maurice, and they may even be underway by the time you read this page. Without giving away too much, we can tell you old Hank McCoy will be teaming up shortly with one group or another. Keep your eyes peeled. Is that not Defenders?
He's Avengers at this point, right? Is he?
But didn't he go to the Champions?
Yeah, either Champions or Defenders. Obviously, it was so important that I remember it really well.
You saw how long it took to remember the Champions, right?
Yes. All I can think of is Hercules, and I fucking hate Hercules.
Yeah, I hate Hercules. Okay. As for more present-day adventures of the Frankenstein monster, you can find them now every 60 days in a mag called, of all things, The Frankenstein Monster, as well as in almost every issue of our black and white Monsters Unleashed. Now, about this silver stuff, we're a little unclear on it ourselves, but to the best of our knowledge, a werewolf can be killed only by a silver dagger or bullet or whatever. But an ordinary bullet, if it lodges in the werewolf's heart or in any vital organ, will kill him when he returns to his human form at dawn. Are we correct, lycanthropists in the audience? That's a long hyphenated term. Are we correct, lycanthropists in the audience? While we're waiting for your opinions, let's drop a happy little bombshell on you. Starting next issue, our giant-sized werewolf mag will be featuring, are you ready? All new material in each and every issue. Yep, you heard us right. No more reprints. Giant Size Werewolf number 4 will contain not 1, but 2 feature-length Werewolf by Night adventures, never published anywhere before. So don't miss that landmark issue, on sale in 3 months. You'll regret it if you do. See you then, Howlin' One. Excelsior!
God.
They spelled that out, so I'm just...
Wow. Oh, boy.
Okay, so I thought that letter was charming.
Yeah, the letter was really charming. And yeah, I guess I didn't think about it. Like, I knew that Giant Size 4 wasn't going to have any reprints, but, Marvel loved shoving reprints into these Giant Size books. So I think Giant Size Werewolf must be doing okay for them to do something like that.
It's weird because when they expand and become full, all new stuff, that's when I don't like them. That's when they really start to show that shortcut stuff. I'd rather read some Ditko reprint or two. Like there was in this one, the last one was a reprint of a Perwin Atlas story.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually I read all the reprints in this issue. One of them, I think the issue of Journey into Mystery is on Marvel Unlimited. The rest I had scans of. I think the other stories came from Adventures into Terror 13, I think was the one. There's some really cool ones. The Visitor was by George Rousseau, who we've had on.
George Rousseau, yeah.
God, he's so good. That story is badass. But I'm excited for the next Giant Size because we get to be with Brad and talk about Morbius. So can't wait.
Down the road.
Yeah, it's a month, just a month.
We've got some glitter nighting to do.
Glitter nighting.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Buy some, try some, fly some. Buy some, try some, fly some. I ain't gonna tell you what it is, no, no, no. You have to find out for yourself. I'm just gonna tell you like it is, yeah, yeah, yeah. You've gotta find out for yourself. Buy some, try some, fly some. Buy some, try some, fly some. Buy some, try some, fly some. You're gonna like it. Buy some, try some.
So we talked about this on Instagram last night. I mentioned that we do the multimedia werewolf stuff, and sometimes we watch the same thing or don't, and sometimes it's just a surprise. And I thought, hey, why don't we just mention to the audience, the folks that follow us, that we're going to talk about this movie at this time in case you want to see it first. So we watched Where from 2013. That's WER, available for free on Tubi with ads. And I think I had heard about this one from one of those like What Culture YouTube type of shows that was like a top 15 werewolf movies you probably haven't seen that are worth a watch, or one of those types of things like that. So yeah, it was set in France, but it was made by American filmmakers. So that's interesting. We're not going to talk in full spoilers just in case, but yeah, Jacob, how would you set this up to somebody who hasn't seen it?
Well, I just set the story by saying, it starts out with an American couple and their young son get attacked by this giant animal that totally just eats the father and son and leaves the mother barely alive. And the police arrest a man who lived near there for the murders, who, even when they take him out, it's like, oh, he totally looks like a werewolf. Like just the actor himself. And then it gets a little nebulous. An American lawyer takes the case because Americans were involved.
An expatriate attorney who lives in Paris takes the case because I think she was contacted by the embassy or something. Yeah.
And she brings over an ex of hers who is an animal expert, I think.
Yes, expert witness, scientist.
Expert witness, and she has a partner there that she's working on the case. And they're trying to do their legal defense is that he suffers from porphyria.
Well, right. At first they just said he has physical deformities because he looks like the giant in Twin Peaks. He looks like he's about 7 feet tall. Yeah. He looks like a Ripley's Believe It or Not exhibit.
Yeah.
But covered in fur, like hair.
Yeah, and so they were kind of bringing, after that, and then they kind of bring in the porphyria defense, which I guess, like, I was reading about it and reading how it's tied to, like, oh, this is how vampire legends came to be because of this. And I was like, I don't know about that. They were saying
it is real.
It is real, and it's like your gums recede, which can make you seem like you have fangs. It's something about not enough of something, either red blood cell platelets or hemo in the blood. You don't produce enough of it. And they were listing the reasons why it could be considered like a precursor to the werewolf or vampire legend. And I just didn't buy it. I was like, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyhow, they go on this defense and and then it just they try to kind of trigger his disease through what is it, like strobe lights or something, and then it just all goes to shit from there on out. And so the first half of the movie is pretty tame, but fairly engaging. Like I found myself really getting into it. And I had a hard time trying to figure out how to describe this. I think you are better with describing at what level of a budget a movie is at. This is not a low budget movie, right?
I didn't think it was a high budget movie.
Wouldn't call it that. That's why I feel like it's in some kind of gray area to where I'm like, oh, this cost a couple $1 million to make. Like,
Oh yeah, I would say
yeah,
$1 to $2 million. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first half I was really engaged with, and then shit goes down for the second half. We won't get too spoilery, but it gets kind of bananas and super violent and pretty brutal. But I don't know. Did you like this movie? I couldn't tell if I liked it.
Okay, so funny story. We'll do the full disclosure thing. I already told Jacob all this, but a friend of my wife's gave me some cookies with cannabis butter in them. And I use edibles quite a bit, but I'm used to the state-run OLCC commercial products that are very, very metered. So this person said, I would eat one whole cookie, and their child was standing behind them saying, like, shaking her head, no, like, don't do it. So Renee and I split one. We got super, super high. Renee was too high to even watch a movie, went to bed, and I watched this, and it was basically like being on mushrooms. So I was hoping I could kind of reflect on the movie soberly today and read some reviews of it and kind of read the Wikipedia page, refresh my memory, and have a kind of grounded, centered place I come from talking about it. But I was high all night and most of the day. So I don't know. I felt like tonally, to me, as a completely baked person, it was all over the place, and I could not figure out if that was me responding to it or if it's actually like it's half police procedural. Like there's these Aaron Sorkin like scenes where like there's the attorney, her investigator, and her special guy ex-boyfriend, and cops coming through a scene, and the cameraman's literally having to move out of the way of cops, and like all that kind of like West Wing bullshit. Where it's like this felt like I know I'm super high, but it feels like it's a cop show. Like
yeah, it felt like a cop show, like a fake documentary.
Yeah.
And to where, that was very unsettling. And I know it was a stylistic decision. I don't think it was the right one. No, there wasn't a static camera shot in the whole fucking movie.
No, there was not.
So yeah, I know I was not as high watching it, but I was still pretty high watching it. And it was, that was a little disconcerting. I got a little seasick.
You know, it's funny that the one static shot in the whole thing is when the mom is being attacked in the home footage, and she drops the camera as she's screaming and her family's being eaten. That's the one shot that did not move.
Yeah.
Ironically. Yeah. The other thing that upset me about it, again, I'm just having emotional responses left and right, was the attorney, American expatriate attorney's investigator type guy. It's not clear whether they were getting close or not, but she's definitely an ex with the expert that she brought in. But this guy looks like a 2012 Tim and Eric version of a douchebag. Like his hair does the weird Bieber, like swooping down like into like an upside down foxglove flower. And he had like always black denim jackets on. Like it looked like I forgot what that Tim and Eric episode is, like Doug and Jim and Derek, where they're like the skateboard extreme douchebags.
God, that's such a good episode.
That's what that guy looked like. I mean, his hair literally was like, if you search 2012 metrosexual douchebag, this guy is who would appear, and he's like an important character. So I had a really hard time.
Yeah, he's a main character.
Yeah. Anyway, it felt weird to me just being yanked around my stone little couch of like, it's a police procedural, it's a indie drama. And then, like you said, once they start trying to scientifically prove this defense of this disease, it gets super violent, super erratic and crazy, which it's supposed to. I mean, it's lycanthropy of a stripe.
Yeah, it got really brutal and crazy at the end. I mean, it was fun. I don't mind that I saw it. I don't think I'm going to see it again.
I don't think I'd watch it a second time, but I would say it's worth checking out. Some of the ideas were interesting.
Yeah, I thought so. And it was
well made.
Yeah, it was well made. They talk about the beast going to the forest a lot, and I liked that. I was like, oh, they keep saying forest.
Yeah, I kept drinking. Just kidding. I was actually too high to drink it. What else? Yeah, I don't want to dive too much into the details because I think I would recommend somebody watch it if you're interested in unusual werewolf movies. This will definitely be that.
Yeah, if you can watch it for free on Tubi, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and it's funny because it was marketed, like in its pre-production phases, as being a found footage werewolf movie that was internationally produced. And you can see how it starts with the American family being attacked by the creature. It starts off as a found footage horror film. It does maintain that aesthetic a way through where it's like, same thing with the rest of development, right? Where it's like, this isn't, there's no lower thirds. It doesn't say G.O.B. Bluth, you know, it doesn't, but it's, people say it's a mock documentary.
Yeah.
It has that aesthetic a lot, but I think that was actually to its detriment. I think that
I agree.
there was also some stylized things whenever the attorney would get to have time with the supposed werewolf in a interrogation room at the police department, they would do these security camera array glitches and like these stylized things trying to suggest something visually, like flipping back and forth between him and her and him and her and him and her, and then like on a claw or something. And it's just like it's cool, but it doesn't actually work because it doesn't mean anything. So there was issues I had with it, but once it shed off that weird police procedural legal drama stuff and became just a straight up savage werewolf movie, wild man movie, I kind of liked it. But I have a hard time recommending it wholeheartedly.
I agree. I mean, I think there were parts that were fun. So yeah, if you don't expect a ton, if you don't expect it to be the greatest movie ever, I would check it out. I mean, if you're a fan of werewolf movies, I would definitely check it out.
Yeah, so that's WER from 2013 on Tubi for free. And again, we didn't hate it. It had interesting elements, but I'm not going to give it the gold recommendation or anything. However, can I go ahead and claim what our next film is that we'll be talking about in a future episode?
Without running it past me at all? Of course.
That's exactly the point. Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm going to have a sip of my beer.
Okay. Finish mine.
This is good. One you're going to be happy about, by the way, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's called Wolfman Fox. It's a porno from 2018. And it's no, you'll love this. I was talking with some other friends about watching some movies online. Maybe you could hop in on this. We're going to do like a whole hub thing, but somebody suggested Ginger Snaps Back.
So that's the sequel?
That's part 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen
So I thought
I'd love to.
I could kill some stones. I could introduce you to some of my favorite internet buds. We could all watch Ginger Snaps Back, and you and I could watch a movie for a future episode all in one thing. Boo.
I'm in.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Hey guys, if you want to send us an email, send it to werewolfbynightpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your comments and thoughts about what we're talking about or other werewolf movies we should watch.
Yeah, I'm looking for recommendations. I'm really curious what people are reading werewolf-wise and what people are watching werewolf-wise. So yeah, any of those you could send our way would be great. And we're always looking for 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast platform you listen to. It helps us. And yeah, we just want to hear nice things about ourselves.
We do. And if you want to send us a screenshot of that nice thing you said, we'll send you some buttons made out of real life Werewolf by Night comics.
That's right. I love buttons, and I only choose Plug issues to make the buttons out of, because anything else is an insult to our fans and to God himself.
My Plug button that you made me popped off of my sweater during a meeting today randomly. It was kind of creepy.
Well, the one that
jumped out.
That has Plug's signature box?
Yeah.
Like
it was committing suicide.
Yeah.
Very strange.
It was so funny. I think that was one of the ones that I made because, that comes from the cover. Mm-hmm. So I think I only have been, Frankensteining 3 issues of that together. So there's only 3 buttons that have that Plug signature box. And yeah, you have one, I have one, and Brad has one. So it's our neat little club, our little Cub Scouts thing.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening this week. Join us next week when we talk about Werewolf by Night, number 27, the introduction of Dr. Glitter Knight. Just going to let that settle in.
Oh, yeah. I've heard so much. Can't wait.
Till we meet again, neath the full moon, furry ones. Here's how on at ya.